about a week, not today, but about a week ago, I sold my soul. You understand what I'm saying? And ever since I sold my soul, I haven't been happy ever since. You know what I'm saying?
One of the Island Boys openly said he lost his happiness after selling his soul to the devil. 6ix9ine tweeted his soul was worth $7.5 million, and DMX wrote an entire trilogy about meeting the devil himself, then lived out that nightmare in real life. Playboi Carti. When Carti released his highly anticipated album Whole Lotta Red back in 2020, it wasn't just the music that had people talking, it was the entire presentation, the vampire fits, the upside down crosses, the imagery that seemed ripped straight from some kind of satanic fever dream. The album's tone was inspired by vampire films like The Lost Boys, creating a dark, gothic atmosphere that felt completely unprecedented in mainstream hip-hop. But here's where things get really interesting. Fans began noticing that Carti's transformation wasn't just superficial. His live performances started taking on an almost ritualistic quality, with theories emerging that he might be possessed by a demon called Murmur, supposedly passed down through his connection to the Lil Wayne lineage of artists. Now, that might sound absolutely insane to most people, but when you see Carti on stage, horned hoodies and all, screaming into the microphone with what can only be described as otherworldly energy, you start to understand why these theories gained such traction. Then there's the matter of his tattoos. When photos surfaced of what appeared to be a Satan tattoo on Carti's neck, it sparked a genuine panic among certain segments of his fan base. Some accused him of openly worshiping the devil, while others defended it as merely an aesthetic choice, a punk rock homage, rather than any genuine allegiance to the forces of darkness. Even Kanye West, who collaborated with Carti, allegedly made comments on the song Go to the Moon that referenced Carti's relationship with satanic imagery. The fan base itself has embraced the darkness, referring to themselves as vampires, and fully leaning into the goth-adjacent aesthetic that their leader has cultivated. Carti's defenders argue that it's all just an aesthetic, a rock star vibe rather than any literal devil worship. But in a culture where symbols carry weight and imagery speaks volumes, can we really separate the art from the implications? That's for you to decide. Speaking of artists who have been anything but subtle about their alleged deals with dark forces, let's talk about someone who took soul-selling accusations and turned them into a literal tweet. 6ix9ine. Few artists have courted controversy quite like Tekashi 6ix9ine, the rainbow-haired provocateur whose career has been defined by chaos, legal troubles, and some of the most blatant Illuminati references we've ever seen from a mainstream rapper. Let's start with the most damning piece of evidence, the tweet. In 2018, 6ix9ine took to social media and made a statement that sent conspiracy theorists into overdrive. He literally tweeted that he had sold his soul for $7.5 million, a reference to his record deal that many interpreted as far more than just a figure of speech. The caption accompanying his deal announcement was essentially him admitting to signing his life to the Illuminati, at least according to how fans interpreted it. Now, 6ix9ine is known for trolling. The man has made a career out of saying outrageous things for attention. But there's something about that particular statement that has never sat right with conspiracy theorists. Was it just a joke? Was he bragging about his deal in the most provocative way possible? Or was there a kernel of truth buried beneath all that rainbow-colored chaos? What happened next in 6ix9ine's career certainly didn't help dispel the theories. After becoming a federal witness and snitching on his former gang associates during the RICO case of 2018, many saw his willingness to cooperate as evidence of a deeper deal with the devils, both the metaphorical ones in the music industry and the literal street demons he'd aligned himself with. The aftermath has been nothing short of catastrophic. IRS raids auctioned off his assets, including his Lamborghini and Bentley, netting only about $510,000. His net worth, which once soared into the millions, has reportedly crashed by approximately 94%, leaving him with an estimated $1.5 million or less. Fans have been brutal in their assessment. The general consensus? No soul left, just clout. Whether 6ix9ine actually made some supernatural bargain or simply made a series of terrible life decisions, one thing is certain: the cost of his choices has been astronomically high. While 6ix9ine's story is one of a career imploding in real time, our next entry takes us to a far more tragic outcome, an artist whose lyrics seem to predict his own fate with chilling accuracy. Young Dolph. The tragic story of Young Dolph represents perhaps the most haunting entry on our list. not just because of the conspiracy theories surrounding his life, but because of the devastating circumstances of his death. Let's start with the album that got everyone talking, Paper Route Illuminati, released in 2021. The very title alone was enough to set off alarm bells among conspiracy theorists, but it wasn't just the name, it was the numerology. According to those who study gematria, a form of numerology that assigns numerical values to words, the number 201 carries significant ties to both the Illuminati and the Jesuits. The album debuted at 1022 on the charts, a number that would prove eerily significant in the tragedy to come. Perhaps most chilling were Dolph's own lyrics, which seemed to foreshadow his fate with disturbing accuracy. He rapped openly about sacrifice, about the price of fame, asking questions like, if I sacrifice myself, will I go to hell? These weren't just bars, they felt like prophecies. When young Dolph was murdered at a Memphis bakery on November 17, 2021, at the age of 36, the conspiracy theories exploded. Some fans pointed to the date itself, noting that when broken down through various numerological calculations, November 17th could be interpreted as adding up to 666. Others noted that Dolph had been shot multiple times before his murder, suggesting these were warnings from forces he had crossed. The connection to his album announcement was particularly eerie. When Dolph announced Paper Route Illuminati, his caption read simply, family, money, sacrifices. Those three words took on an entirely different meaning after his death. Here's what makes Dolph's story unique among the accused soul sellers. He had rejected a $22 million record deal to remain independent, turning down offers from industry giants like Yo Gotti and Gucci Mane. To some, this made him anti-Illuminati, a symbol of resistance against the machine. To others, it painted a target on his back. The murder trial has faced numerous delays, with proceedings pushed to July 2025. Meanwhile, Memphis has honored him by renaming a street in his memory, a testament to his impact on the community. But the questions remain. Was Dolph's death simply gang violence, or was it something far more sinister? The ultimate payment for a pact that demanded the highest price. Young Dolph's story centers on the mysterious circumstances of his death, but our next subject's accusations go far deeper, spanning decades of scandals, tragedies, and allegations that have made him a central figure in hip-hop's darkest conspiracy theories. P. Diddy. No discussion of soul-selling allegations in hip-hop would be complete without examining the man whose scandals have dominated headlines for decades, Sean Diddy Combs. The accusations against Diddy aren't just about Illuminati hand signs or cryptic lyrics. They're about a pattern of tragedies and scandals that spans his entire career, each one retroactively fueling the sacrifices for success narrative. Let's go back to the beginning. In 1991, a stampede at a charity basketball game at City College resulted in 9 deaths. Diddy had promoted the event. For conspiracy theorists, this wasn't just a tragic accident. It was the first in a series of rituals that would pave his path to megastardom. The fact that his career exploded shortly afterward only added fuel to the fire. Then came the 1999 club shooting incident, where Diddy's protege Shine took the fall and went to prison. The deaths of Tupac and Biggie, both of which have been linked to Diddy through various theories over the years, further cemented his reputation as someone whose success comes at others' expense. But it's the recent revelations that have truly sent the conspiracy world into overdrive. A documentary alleged that Diddy performed an animal sacrifice in Central Park before his 1999 verdict. Specifically, a bird sacrifice meant to ensure a favorable outcome. His former bodyguard, Gene Deal, has described feeling like events around Diddy had a sacrificial quality to them. The accusations have only intensified. Members of Day 26, a group Diddy helped create, have allegedly received human sacrifice emails during their time under his management. Sacrificial stuff that they found deeply disturbing. The Cassie lawsuit in 2023 detailed years of alleged abuse, and 2024 raids uncovered evidence of what investigators called freak-offs, events whose true nature remains under investigation. Even Kim Porter's death in 2018 has been pulled into the conspiracy web, with some theorizing it was the PAC's price. The Diddy case has become a QAnon obsession, with 2004 parties being reimagined as potential human sacrifice events, and parallels drawn to Jeffrey Epstein. Diddy has categorically denied these allegations, but as his legal troubles mount, the theories show no signs of slowing down. From allegations of ritual sacrifices to something even stranger, what if an artist didn't just sell their soul, but was replaced entirely? That's the bizarre theory surrounding our next rapper, Eminem. Here's where things take a truly bizarre turn. because when it comes to Eminem, the conspiracy theories don't just suggest he sold his soul, they suggest he paid for it with his very existence. The Eminem clone theory is one of the most persistent and strange conspiracy theories in hip-hop history. According to believers, the real Marshall Mathers died sometime around 2006, possibly from an overdose, and was subsequently replaced by a clone or body double. The proof? Alleged changes in his appearance, voice, and artistic style post-encore. The evidence that believers point to is genuinely unsettling, even if you don't buy the theory. The 2013 Zane Lowe interview is often cited, where Eminem appears to freeze or glitch during certain moments, staring blankly in ways that seem almost inhuman. Eye twitches, strange pauses, and what some describe as dead eyes have all been compiled into videos that rack up millions of views on YouTube. Theorists point to changes in M's jaw shape, claiming his bone structure looks different in post-2006 photos. Others note that his voice has changed, becoming deeper, more gravelly, though skeptics would attribute this to age and sobriety. The evidence extends to his music as well. Lyrics that reference the New World Order, album covers featuring one eye prominently displayed, the all-seeing eye symbol beloved by Illuminati hunters, and references to Rain Man, interpreted as Illuminati code, have all been dissected endlessly. Even other artists have weighed in. Tom MacDonald's 2019 track Cloned Rappers directly names Eminem as one of the artists replaced by the industry. B.O.B., the rapper famous for his flat earth beliefs, has tweeted about the Eminem android theory. Eminem himself has referenced selling his soul metaphorically in his music, specifically in the context of his relationship with Dr. Dre and the Grammys that launched his career. His recovery-era sobriety has been interpreted by some as his escape from whatever dark forces once controlled him. Is the real Slim Shady still standing, or are we looking at version 2.0? The debate rages on. Clone theories and replacement conspiracies might sound far-fetched, but our next artist didn't need fans to speculate about his deal with the devil. He literally wrote songs about it. DMX. If any rapper's story reads like a genuine battle between good and evil, between the forces of heaven and hell, it's the legendary DMX. Unlike most artists on this list who are accused of soul selling based on circumstantial evidence, DMX actually created an entire narrative around the concept, the famous Damien trilogy that spans across his discography, beginning with It's Dark and Hell is Hot in 1998. The Damien tracks tell a Faustian horror story that mirrors X's own life with eerie precision. In the original song, DMX's character meets someone he believes is his guardian angel, named Damien. But Damien is revealed to be the devil in disguise, and through their interaction, X's soul is traded for fame and fortune. The key line that has haunted fans for decades, "You sold me your soul when you didn't say no." Inspired by the horror film The Omen, the trilogy continues across subsequent albums, depicting X's ongoing battle to break free from Damien's grip. In the Omen sequel track, Damien claims full ownership of X's soul after a shooting incident. The music videos were dark, disturbing, and felt less like entertainment and more like a confession. What made the Damien narrative so powerful was how closely it mirrored DMX's real-life struggles. His lifelong battles with addiction, his legal troubles, his personal demons, all of it felt like the repayment portion of the devil's bargain. X prayed publicly throughout his career, often delivering powerful prayers before shows, pleading with Jesus to keep the devil out. Fans have theorized that the trilogy was never finished, that a part 4 might exist somewhere, or was planned before X's death. The speculation adds another layer to an already haunting legacy. When DMX passed away from an overdose in 2021, fans mourned not just a hip-hop legend, but a man who had spent his entire career warning us about the very deal he seemed to have made. Whether X ever truly sold his soul, or simply used the mythology as a metaphor for addiction and temptation, his music remains the most explicit exploration of these themes in hip-hop history. DMX's battle was portrayed as a war between light and darkness, but our next artist's accusations paint a different picture, one of calculated transformation and alleged industry manipulation to reach the very top. Nicki Minaj. The queen of rap has built an empire through fierce competition, iconic verses, and a willingness to transform herself in ways that have kept her relevant for over a decade. But according to conspiracy theorists, Nicki Minaj's rise to the top came at a price. The accusations against Nicki often center on the supposed sacrifices required for her ascension, particularly the physical transformations, body modifications, wigs, the crafting of a hypersexualized image that critics claim were demanded by industry puppet masters to maximize her marketability. Then there are the music videos, which have provided endless ammunition for conspiracy hunters. The only video from 2014 featured Nazi-like satanic imagery and occult symbols that sparked immediate backlash. While Nicki apologized for the Nazi imagery, calling it unintentional, the occult elements, the imagery of control, domination, and dark power, aligned perfectly with Illuminati Queen narratives. In a 2015 Rolling Stone interview, Nicki made comments about the price of fame that conspiracy theorists immediately seized upon. Her admission about having to open up about what the industry demands was interpreted as coded language about soul selling, though skeptics would argue she was simply discussing the emotional and personal toll of celebrity. The connections to other accused soul sellers haven't helped. Nicki's collaborations with Jay-Z and her close association with artists who are themselves targets of Illuminati theories create a web of association that believers find impossible to ignore. Some have labeled her the Queen of Treachery, a satanic seductress who uses her influence to further dark agendas. Personal tragedies have been woven into the narrative as well. Her brother's 2017 conviction for child molestation has been twisted by some as evidence of karmic debt, the universe collecting on deals made in darkness. Her 2015 performance in Angola, where she accepted $2 million to perform amid human rights abuses, has been cited as evidence of her hypocrisy and willingness to compromise morality for money. Nicki has never directly addressed the soul-selling accusations, but she's made her position clear through her music and public statements. "I'm a queen, not a puppet." Nicki may deny being a puppet, but our next artist has seemingly embraced every dark accusation thrown at them, going so far as to implant a symbol of occult power directly into their forehead. Lil Uzi Vert. When it comes to overt displays of potential devil worship in hip-hop, no one has pushed the boundaries quite like Lil Uzi Vert, an artist who has seemingly embraced every accusation thrown at them and turned it into an aesthetic, the centerpiece of every Lil Uzi. Conspiracy theory is, of course, the forehead diamond. In 2021, Uzi completed a process that had been ongoing since 2017, paying approximately $24 million for a natural pink diamond that was surgically implanted into their forehead. The placement was impossible to ignore, directly over the third eye chakra point, a location associated in various spiritual traditions with enlightenment, higher consciousness, and in some interpretations, occult awakening. The diamond was allegedly torn out during a crowd surfing incident at Rolling Loud 2021, which fans interpreted as demonic backlash, the universe rejecting such an overt display of occult symbolism. The injury was significant enough that Uzi had to have it surgically reattached, but the diamond is just the tip of the iceberg. In multiple interviews, including a notable 2017 Vlad TV appearance, Uzi has made comments about having sold my soul for their fans, for the music, for the lifestyle. While these comments could easily be dismissed as trolling or metaphor, the frequency with which Uzi returns to this theme has raised eyebrows. The Marilyn Manson collaborations have added fuel to the fire. Manson, whose entire career has been built on provocative, anti-Christian imagery, has worked with Uzi on multiple occasions. Their friendship and artistic partnership has been cited as evidence of Uzi's alignment with dark forces. The Eternal Atake album and its accompanying imagery, vampires, gothic aesthetics, references to death and eternal life continued the pattern. The album's very title suggests something beyond mortal existence, a state achieved through supernatural means. Uzi's response to accusations of Satanism has been characteristically nonchalant. When threatened over their upside-down cross tattoos and other devil worship imagery, Uzi has largely ignored the controversy. Their explanation? "I'm literally trying to turn into a diamond." Whether that's literal or metaphorical, the transformation certainly seems complete. Lil Uzi might be turning into a diamond, but our next artist has been building a diamond empire. And according to conspiracy theorists, that famous hand gesture he throws up is anything but a record label logo. Jay-Z. If there's one name that has become synonymous with Illuminati theories in hip-hop, it's Sean Jay-Z Carter, the mogul whose hand sign has launched 1,000 conspiracy threads. The rock diamond sign, that diamond-shaped hand gesture that Jay-Z and his artists flash constantly, is at the center of everything. To believers, it's not a record label logo. It's devil horns, a pyramid with the all-seeing eye of providence, or some combination of occult symbols designed to broadcast allegiance to the powers that be. The lyrical evidence has been parsed endlessly. Jay-Z's 2003 track Lucifer from the Black Album features him directly referencing the Prince of Darkness. The On to the Next One video is ground zero for Illuminati hunters, featuring skulls, imagery associated with Baphomet, the goat-headed figure linked to Satanism and occultism, and a visual language that seemed designed to confirm every theory ever written about Jay. Other artists have weighed in with accusations. Prodigy from Mobb Deep wrote an infamous prison letter in 2007, accusing Jay-Z of concealing the Beast's lifestyle and being a puppet of the Illuminati. MC Hammer released a diss video in 2010 that literally depicted Jay being chased by a devil offering rock signs, about as explicit an accusation as you can make in hip-hop. Jay-Z has addressed the theories directly, albeit dismissively. His track Conspiracy Theorist on the Blueprint 3 mocked the accusations, but his denials have done little to quell the speculation, particularly as his empire has grown to include Roc Nation, Tidal, and partnerships that span nearly every corner of the entertainment industry. Recent connections to the Diddy scandals have reignited the theories. Some theorists have retroactively tied the deaths of Biggie and Tupac to Jay's rise, suggesting these were sacrifices that paved his path to domination. The 2023 Jane Doe lawsuit alleging abuse has added another layer of darkness to his legacy. He sits at the top of the throne of soul-selling accusations, the man whose success has been so unprecedented, so all-encompassing, that many simply cannot believe it was achieved through talent and business acumen alone. Whether that says more about Jay-Z or about our collective suspicion of extreme success is a question worth pondering. Jay-Z may sit at the top of the throne, but there's one artist whose journey from gospel-influenced producer to polarizing cultural lightning rod represents perhaps the most dramatic transformation in hip-hop history, and he's actually addressed the soul-selling accusations head-on: Kanye West. And so we arrive at the artist whose journey from Chicago backpack rapper to polarizing cultural phenomenon represents perhaps the most dramatic arc in hip-hop history, Kanye West, now known as Ye. Kanye's story is unique on this list because he's actually addressed the accusations head-on, multiple times, in ways that have both fueled and complicated the theories. In a 2010 MTV interview, Kanye freestyled the now infamous line, "I sold my soul to the devil, that's a crappy deal." He later clarified this was metaphor, a commentary on the compromises required by the music industry, but the words were out there, immortalized forever. The Power video has been dissected frame by conspiracy theorists. The Horus chain, which Kanye claimed was for royal protection, the devil horns on the women surrounding him, the Masonic columns, every visual element has been interpreted as evidence of occult involvement. The Apeshit video with Beyonce, featuring fallen angel imagery, continued the pattern. But here's where Kanye's narrative takes a fascinating turn. By 2015, he was writing letters to Paper Magazine explicitly dismissing Illuminati theories, arguing that the real power brokers are energy companies, not celebrities. This denial has been interpreted in wildly different ways, as genuine truth, as misdirection, or as evidence that he'd been gotten to. The personal tragedies have been woven into the conspiracy tapestry. His mother Donda's death in 2007, following complications from cosmetic surgery, has been repeatedly cited as a sacrifice, the price paid for the career that would follow. His 2016 hospitalization for mental health issues is viewed by some as the consequences of the pact catching up with him. Most recently, Kanye's 2022 anti-Semitic rants and erratic behavior have been reframed through the conspiracy lens. Some theorists believe he's breaking free from his handlers, that his controversial statements are actually attempts to expose the system that created him. Others see his downfall as simply the devil collecting what he's owed. The evolution from Jesus Walks to the chaos of recent years represents, to believers, the ultimate cautionary tale. A man spiraling out of control after making the trade, his original conscious rap values corrupted by the forces he aligned himself with for success. Whether Kanye sold his soul, lost his mind, or is simply a complicated human being navigating fame in public view, his story remains the most debated, analyzed, and argued over in all of hip-hop conspiracy culture. Island Boys. Alex Fly Sulja, Venegas and Frankie Kodiak Red. Venegas are twin brothers who rose to fame in 2021 with their viral TikTok hit, "I'm an Island Boy." They're known for their catchy songs, distinctive appearance, and provocative online antics. In July 2023, a video of the twins kissing sparked outrage and speculation about their sexuality. Fly Sulja later came out as gay, stating he's a top and likes men. He claimed the kissing video was for attention, while Kodiak Red denied any romantic involvement with his brother. The Island Boys' viral success led to feuds with celebrities like Adam22 and Blueface. They've also faced criticism for their behavior, including an incident where they were allegedly kicked out of a boxing match for throwing shoes. Kodiakred has faced multiple arrests, including domestic abuse and gun charges. Fly Sulya has also been involved in controversies, including a 2022 police raid at their home connected to a drive-by shooting. Despite the drama, the Island Boys have released music, including Fly Sulya's album 17 and Kodiakred's Trendsetters. They also have an OnlyFans account and create content on TikTok, YouTube, and Cameo. Thanks for watching. Check out other cards on the screen.